So there's another one.
No, wait. No, I know. Michelangelo.
All right, Michelangelo. What's the name of the painting?
I was thinking that's supposed to be like camp, but
It's in the 16th chapter.
So I thought it was called The Creation.
oh, well, I can understand why.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I want you guys to look at this painting, and there's one very specific thing. I'm hoping somebody picks up on.
It's on the ceiling.
Okay.
Other than that, what do you see in this painting that's very peculiar? Right? There's an interaction. There's an interaction going on. Who are the two main people in the painting?
Angels and God.
Right? So you have God on one side.
Who's the other guy?
We're
looking at right now.
All right, so you've got God on one side, and then who's on the other side of God? Adam. Okay, very good. Now, what's going on? What's the interaction between Adam and God?
They're touching.
Okay, their fingers. Now, I want you to dig a little deeper. Can you see their fingers?
Yeah.
Is one of them stretched out more than the other?
Yes.
Does one look more lazy?
Yes.
Who's the one that's being lazy? And who does Adam represent?
Which is Adam?
Us.
And who's, obviously, we see God stretching completely. Adam is laying back on the rock, has his finger barely outward, and God is lunging forward and has his finger pointed out. Have you guys ever looked at this painting like that before?
Never.
No.
Never looked at it.
Not even on my history book, they never talked about that.
Really?
No.
I really think that's the whole point. So when I went to Italy, my wife and I went to Italy before our daughter was born. We got to go to a tour of the Vatican. And this is what they brought up. They said, look and see how man is lazy and how God is stretching his finger out. I thought it was very fascinating. I think we're going to see a lot of this. Like if you actually study some of the art history, you might see a lot of this stuff like going forward. But I actually brought this up for a different reason. I brought this up because I wanted to talk about what God has done in our lives and has done even in the past, right? Like historically, and how people have reacted to it. So today's message is supposed to be about the apostles. We're supposed to talk about the book of Acts. The book of Acts is really big. It's over 20 chapters. And it has a lot of different things that go on in that. One of the most fascinating things though, and I think you guys could all before you decompress and just kind of like sink into your chair, think about what the apostles did and why they did it, right? Why did they do it? Why did St. Paul, why was he willing to get stoned, right? Would you guys all get stoned for me? Probably not. Would you guys all even, I'll ask you a different question. If I had a flat tire on the side of the road and I was all the way up in DC, would you guys drive up to help me?
Rather than that,
If
just go like
I knew
help.
how to help, not AT&T.
So there's a point in which you're like, you know what, I'm not willing to do this. Maybe somebody else can do it. Maybe I can call somebody else. Say again?
You have a spare tire?
Right. So you're going to start asking some questions like, can somebody else help you? Can somebody else, do this instead of me? And I wonder if the apostles had ever thought that. I wonder if any of the apostles, if that ever crossed their mind.
I can help online.
You can help online, see? Right? So we're looking for like easy ways to kind of, but we're not willing to stretch our hand out. I'm sorry, for my computer to lock. But we're not willing to stretch our hand out the way God was, the way God is doing here. He's willing to stretch his fingers out and do more. Now, what I really want to talk about is the gospel. It's been, I think it was November 7th, so it's like almost 3 weeks ago. Do you guys remember this gospel? The widow of Nain? Do you guys know the story of the widow of Nain? Nain.
Is she the lady who her son was dead?
Yes. Yeah. So this is a very famous story where Jesus sees a procession coming out of Nain, and there's a mom, and she's got the casket's there, and her son is in it. Okay. Now, I'm not going to make this about the resurrection, but I do want to point out something very interesting. Okay. I want to point out what God has done in this and how far he was willing to stretch his hand out for the widow. But before I even do that, I want to step backwards. The chapter beforehand, God had gone on a healing spree, literally healing people, giving the Beatitudes, and he was healing the centurion's servant. He was all over the healing spectrum. Okay, healing people who are sick, healing lepers, diseases, all kinds of stuff. And he makes his way to the widow of Nain. Now, what's fascinating here is that resurrections, like we're a little immune to resurrections because we in the Christian church, we hear the resurrection, we think Jesus, he resurrected. Great, awesome. We celebrate Easter, we have some chocolate or whatever might come with Easter, but point is for a lot of people is that Lent is over. But if we go back to the Old Testament, there were two other people who I want to mention who were involved with resurrections. Does anybody know who they were? Elijah was one. The other person sounds like Elijah also. Elisha. Well, guess what they had to do? In order for Elijah, and I'm going to go ahead and actually ask you guys to read this verse. Where's my mouse? There we go. Can somebody open up 1 Kings 17 and read verses 21 through 22? 1 Kings 17, 21 through 20. Just open up your iPhones. If you got it. 21 through 22. So 1 Kings 17, 21 here. To get there. Yeah, why don't we go ahead? No iPhone? No Bible? And was it you that asked me about different shoes?
Yeah.
My who wants to read? All right.
And he stretched himself out on the child 3 times and cried out to the Lord and said, "O Lord my God, I pray, let this child's soul come back to him." Then the Lord heard the voice of Elijah,
Elijah.
and the soul of the child came back to him, and he revived.
Perfect. All right, so what did Elijah have to do here? Elijah had to ask somebody, right? He had to ask somebody. He had to do something, ask somebody to help, right? He's asking God. He said, "Oh Lord, my God, I pray, let this child's soul come back to him." Okay, 2 Kings chapter 4, 32 through 35. This is a little longer. 2 Kings. This image is just gonna stay up. I'm not gonna put anything else up here. So chapter 32 through 35. Who's got 2 Kings? Digging for that phone. I got it. All right, who's got it up? Chapter 2. Oh, sorry, no. 2 Kings chapter 4. 32 through 35. Okay.
When Elisha came, wait, is it Elisha?
Alicia.
Came into the house, there was the child lying dead on his bed. He went in, therefore shut the door behind the two of them and prayed to the Lord. And he went up and lay on the child and put his mouth on his mouth, his eyes on his head, and his hands on his hands. And he stretched himself out on the child, and the flesh of the child became warm. He returned and walked back and forth in the house, and again went up and stretched himself out on him. Then the child sneezed 7 times, and the child opened his eyes.
All right, so what happened here? We see that Elisha also had to do something. And he went up and prayed to the Lord. That's literally verse 33. And he went up, therefore, shut the door behind them, the two of them, and prayed to the Lord. Now let me ask you. Do you guys know this gospel? The God? Okay. So let me pull it up actually for you. It's Luke chapter 7. Let me get this for you. Because what Jesus did was completely different. he didn't have to pray to anyone at all. He basically touched the casket, and that was the end of it. Let me pull this reading up. So it's Luke chapter 7, 11 through 17. I'm just going to read it really quickly. Now it happened the day after he went into the city called Nain, and many of his disciples went with him in a large crowd. When he had come near the gate of the city, behold, a dead man was being carried out, the only son of his mother, and she was a widow. So only son and a widow means she has no husband. She's only got this one child. And a large crowd from the city was with her. When the Lord saw her, he had compassion on her and said to her, "Do not weep." Then he came and touched the open coffin, and those who carried him stood still. And he said, "Young man, I say to you, arise." So he who was dead sat up and began to speak, and he presented him to his mother. Then fear came upon all, and they glorified God, saying, "A great prophet," this is the funny part, "a great prophet is risen among us," even though he did nothing what the prophets did, right? The prophets had to pray to somebody, and he touched the coffin, said, "Get up," and the person got up. And God has visited his people today, and this report about him went throughout all Judea and the surrounding region. So what's interesting here is that, one, you can see that the power of the prophet was okay. The power of God, way greater. And you can see God he's out. He wants to go ahead and do something here for this widow. What do you think God, did he have to do this? No. Did he have compassion on her? What do you guys think if I were to give you two adjectives to describe this gospel, what would you guys describe it as? Just give me 2 words. Anybody? Compassion. Okay, I like compassion. That's actually one of the words I wanted to use.
Compassionate.
Compassionate, okay. What's another thing? What do you think is happening here? I feel like he's about to touch him to do something. Would you guys say power? Something powerful is about to happen? I think that's what's about to happen.
Thunderbolt.
I think God is reaching out to Adam for many, many reasons. And I think God was reaching out to this coffin for many, many reasons. The first one is he was powerful, and he wanted to show that he was powerful. He was giving us his character. And the other part, I think, was he was compassionate. And there was reasons behind his compassion. So I kind of want to, you may have heard during the sermon itself, I'm very visual. So I imagined that when God was walking up to the coffin, the guy was walking up, you guys have seen those medical dramas, right? You go and somebody yells clear, and then you hear those paddles come out. There's always somebody in these medical dramas. We're losing them. They come with a little paddle and they go, thump, right? And they shock somebody back to life.
What?
Wait,
Now,
have you seen Grey's Anatomy?
Grey's Anatomy? No, I'm old, guys. I'm more of an ER person. Okay? ER. All right.
How old?
We can talk about that later. All right, so you guys have heard this though. You've heard doctors that come in with the paddles, they're about to lose a patient, they shock them back to life, and voila. Or they try to shock them back to life. Sometimes it doesn't work. So I imagine that when Jesus said, "Do not weep," it was the clear, back up, I'm about to do something, I'm about to touch my hand, I'm outstretching my hand to do something. Touches the coffin, shocks him, brings him right back to life. There's actually a contemplation, a really interesting contemplation, and it goes like this. Sorry, I just lost my place here. It actually goes on to say, when Jesus said, "Young man, I say to you, arise," that he had to actually specify that he was talking to this one person. Otherwise, all creation would have been subject to him, right? They would all have to listen. But he was very specific on who he was talking to. That's the amazing power that our God has. And that's just one characteristic, obviously. We're talking about compassion. And I got to ask you guys, what was the purpose of raising the child, right? What was the purpose of raising him? Was it so that he could go and attend, the Wizards game, right? Was it so that he could, retire on some beach in Florida? What was the purpose of the raising? You think giving him second chance at life? Okay. Who else has a different opinion?
Yeah, I know
I have a different opinion. Part of his plan, okay.
the easy stuff.
What else? What else we got? What else do we think? What else? What other reason would? What other reason would God have done this? Why would God? I mean, what else? I mean, was it really so we can climb the corporate ladder one day and retire, have some kids? Is that why he raised the kid? All right. So why?
So he can.
Okay, that's
To make them believe more.
Yeah.
okay. I'll take that. Yeah, go ahead. I actually think it's because he did it for his mom. He did it solely for the mom. It was completely for his mom because his mom wanted the son back. The mom had no means of income because this was her only son, no husband. And back in the day, women didn't really work the way they do now. Unfortunately, women were kind of just staying at home. Men did most of the working and everything else. So there's nobody even to protect her. So Jesus had this compassion on her and he raised him from the dead, right? So it's obviously an extremely important part of the gospel. It wasn't incidental at all. Now, let me ask you this. Do you feel like God sometimes does things for you in your life because of someone else? Yeah? Yeah, because of someone else. Yeah, no, because of someone else. Like some of the blessings you have in your life are because of someone else.
Yeah, of course. Your mother and your father.
Okay, your parents, sure.
Doesn't have to, because it's like that's just normal life. It's like if somebody dropped $10 and you find
pick that
that's from somebody else. It's like that type of way. It's that situation.
I'm also thinking about it. What about, I mean, if you want to go the ultra spiritual route, right? Like people who pray for you that you don't even know that they're praying for you. And good things might be happening to you for a reason. God is looking out for you regardless, but I think it comes down to us recognizing that we're all supposed to be advocating for one another, right? So I'm kind of just picking apart this gospel as we go through it. Only one real point that I really want to share to bring. Why would anyone go unto their own death for the sake of somebody else? And you kind of hit on it. And you kind of hit on it, right? You said something earlier.
What? Why did Jesus die for you?
You said something earlier. You don't remember?
Not the first one.
Show
Not the
power.
first person.
You said show power.
No, God.
But that's what you said.
Yeah,
You said because they witnessed things. Like that's what I'm coming here. Like that's the bottom. The bottom line of today's lesson. Is there anything else you want to talk about? No, it's you in the corner.
Me?
Oh,
See?
Okay. All right, let's just try to keep on track. We'll end early. All right. So going back to the apostles, they witnessed this. They witnessed a miracle in which Jesus didn't have to ask anyone to raise this person from the dead. Jesus didn't have to take permission from anyone else to raise this person from the dead. He said, get up, you got it. The apostles know about Elijah and Elisha. Elijah and Elisha, they had to ask. They had to ask permission. It's like going to the store and needing to speak to the clerk. The prophets were like the clerks, but no, we need the manager. So the manager came out and he just did it. The big guy.
Yeah.
So I ask you again, why would they risk their lives? I think you guys know the answer. Why would they risk their lives?
They see a better place in heaven.
Yeah, they know what eternal life has in store for them.
No, come on. I mean, those are all good answers.
No.
Don't get me wrong. No. I'm gonna say, I'll spell it out to you guys even easier. If you saw me do something, right, like really miraculous, would you not wonder, would you not start to believe?
How you did it.
Right, you start to ask questions. If you start to see that this person, Jesus of Nazareth, came in and was doing all this stuff, he was healing people. Like I said, the chapter 6 before the widow of Nain, he was healing people, he preached. Go into chapter 7, he heals somebody from the dead. And now we fast forward all the way to Acts, and you wonder why they were willing to commit their lives. It's because of what they saw. It's because they really experienced it. It's because they really, I mean, I don't want to say that we have the luxury of experiencing or seeing these things, but at the end of the day, I mean, how many people here have seen somebody raised from the dead? I haven't. I've never been around that.
In the movie.
In the movie? How many people have seen like water into wine? I haven't seen that.
Water into, oh, no.
I've
Like-
seen him paint.
With some great food on it.
But you know what I'm saying. You know I'm saying that. You know I'm saying something that's real to you. Is that it's hard for you to believe. It's hard for you to be as committed as the apostles were without kind of getting right in it, like involved in those things. Yeah,
Like the quote, seeing is believing.
kind of.
I'll believe it when I
Yeah,
see it.
What's going on?
Oh, no, some of those teachers have been.
Oh. No problem. So I mean, this is the point of our discussion. What would it take for us to believe strongly? What would it take for us to really believe more strongly? What do you need in your life? Let's go around the room.
Oh, we're going personal, all right. She starts first.
Can you repeat the question?
What would it take for you to believe more strongly? To be like the apostles in the Acts, committing themselves as much as they commit.
I need proof. I need proof.
You want proof? Okay. Let's
Money on the internet.
Identification.
go around the room.
I want to see it happen in front of my eyes.
Okay, let's start over here. What would you need? And be honest, it's okay. You want proof?
No, what a choice then.
Which is
Seeing is believing.
seeing is believing. So you want to see something?
I said that first, bro. He copied
Even
me.
though I do believe, but I just
said it,
want to see it.
You want to see more? Okay. Marina?
It's really sad. I haven't seen it, but someone that we know of like had a miracle happen. But for some reason I'm still not like struck yet. Like it's
Yeah.
not very
It's in his
faithful. Like I'm faithful. I'm just not like a strong relationship with God yet.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's kind of, I don't know.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. Sarah?
Me?
Faith? Your faith would help you believe more strongly? You think so? Okay. Do you feel like that,
I mean, like,
but you need something to boost that faith, right? I think that's kind of what we're talking about now, is what would give us that extra like jolt?
I mean, like, the entire Christian religion is mostly about faith.
Mhm.
So I think it's just. Just like God answering your prayers.
Okay, so you wanna, we're gonna actually talk about this one
That
day.
is kind of true. I
You
mean, God doesn't really answer my prayers. I'm
Okay.
not trying to be disrespectful or anything.
Because he knows better.
No, like I ask for the simplest thing. I'm like, help me with my best.
God is going to give you the answer.
We'll come back. We'll come back to that part. You don't have an answer? Okay.
Let me see that
That's a
question.
good question, but I should probably say.
Say that. You want proof?
I said that.
I'm not really sure, but recently, like, we had a miracle in my personal life, and I feel like that.
That helped you? That jolted you? Okay.
What can like?
Yeah,
I
what's
feel
it?
like
What's it gonna
back
take?
then was easier for you.
You think so?
Yeah, it's because you've seen God like right next to you, and he was talking to you and he was giving you advice. He was healing people.
Yeah.
He
was all
doing
anyone
miracles.
talking about.
It's like if you see him in real, it's like real life is easier if like you understand what I mean.
No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. And I think I struggle with that too sometimes. And what kind of
I told you, I first asked
seeing is
you.
believing.
Yeah.
All right. All right.
I mean,
Why you sniffing the ring?
two things.
Okay.
I want to see God like answer my prayers, and I want to like see it happen in my eyes.
Okay. So you guys want to be like Thomas? You want to put your finger in like his wounds?
Too.
All right. I got you.
What? Finger in boots?
Wounds.
Whoa,
Oh,
Hello,
Huh? Thomas. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm on the
Doubting. They literally call him doubting Thomas. Okay.
Who's talking about your shoes?
Yeah, me, me.
Okay. Wait. Let's continue. Let's continue down. Let's continue down.
Okay.
Can you get her attention? There you go. Yeah. Yeah. We're
You.
what would it take for you to have the same faith or to go the extra mile like the apostles did? What would it take?
Probably seeing a miracle.
Seeing a miracle. All right. All right.
Probably definitely seeing a miracle because like I've heard so many miracles from my mom about people that she knows. But maybe seeing
It's
one
our turn.
would probably work.
Got it.
I
Okay.
need to have a full-on verbal talk.
You want to talk to God?
Yes.
Okay. You want to talk to God? Lydia, how about you?
Honestly, if I wake up, who's there, we like have an hour.
We get, oh, no, just a little quiet. Sorry.
An hour-long talk.
Lydia, how about you? All right. Let's respect each other.
Again,
Let's respect each other.
what's your name? Respect, yeah?
All right, Lydia. Lydia, go ahead.
We're almost done.
Go ahead.
You're not funny.
What the? Oh yeah, Wednesday.
You know what's funny is I've been asking Lydia just to tell me what your thoughts are, and I want to hear what they are.
Yo, son, you know what I thought so.
Lydia, go ahead.
That might sound strange, but I guess seeing God in real life.
You want to see God in real
That
life,
would be hard.
and you want to talk to God, and you
You
want
have to pray so
the rest of you guys all seem to want to like touch and feel, see if it's real.
I just want to see.
Okay. All right.
I want to
He just
talk.
wants his eyes. He's just like.
Then I got a little homework lesson for you guys.
Homework.
Yes,
Come
sir.
on, I got a lot of homework. I don't need like come on, man, these man.
I want you guys this week. This is Thanksgiving week, right? You're supposed to be very thankful for all the things that you have, all the shoes that you got.
Oh yeah. My mom is not letting me buy anything they want. Me neither, bro.
So you gotta be thankful, right?
I need 3 more pairs and I'm done.
Same, for real. You'll never be done once you get free.
It's true. All right, so this week, I would love if everyone tried to find God in their life. Just this one week.
That's a lot to ask.
It's not that hard. It's not that hard.
I will smack.
I want you to try to find the hand of God. Should I pull it back up?
I don't know. So like, what do you mean by that? I just like, hey, what's
All right, I've only got 2 more minutes. I'll let you guys go.
Guys, come on, guys.
Here are 2 minutes. You'll be ready. I want you guys to find. Now you've seen you've seen and heard of the miracle.
Yes.
You've seen why the apostles were so like they were into it, right? Why? Why they were, because they saw stuff. I want you to find this outstretched hand of God in your life this week. Figure it out.
Do it.
Just figure it out.
What's up, Jesus?
Yeah. Find out where. Where is
Let's just go to Jerusalem. Let's take a trip to Jerusalem and like go to his like tombstone.
Because I guarantee a lot of us are like Adam. All right. I guarantee a lot of us are more like Adam in this picture,
Why do I look like that? Jess.
right?
Yeah, Jess.
The camera has seen a lot of you today.
Okay. Quiet down.
I've seen a lot.
Yo, guys.
Adam,
Welcome to
a
America.
lot of us are like Adam right? A lot of us are more like Adam. We're not reaching back out. So this week, I want you to reach back out. I want you to find out where God is in your life. All right? I'm gonna be back. I'm actually gonna see you guys in December. Okay, you guys are coming.
Seventh.
You guys are coming on
Merry
December
Christmas.
18th. I don't know why I can't complete a sentence today with you guys.
Yeah.
On December 18th, you guys are supposed to come visit me in Washington, D.C. We're supposed to go on
Oh.
a museum tour.
You for real?
Yeah.
Sure.
Which one? Wait, wait.
We're gonna go to the National Gallery of Art,
Say what?
and we're going to go
Yo, chill.
to the Renwick. Have you guys ever heard of the Renwick?
Wait, where is this?
We're in DC.
Wait, what day? You can't.
The 18th.
Can I go watch it?
All right. Can I get a set of hands here on who's interested in coming on the 18th?
Oh, yeah.
The church is gonna drive you guys. All right.
Wait,
No?
I can't go because my sister won't let me.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, because you're not in high school.
What do you think about it?
Yeah, bubble gum, no.
You're not funny. I'm
Okay. So as we wrap up, yes, sir. The 18th is a Saturday.
Oh, okay.
So this is ample time. You almost got a month.
So that means I have to take it off.
So if you've got work, take it off. It's gonna be an all-day
Oh,
thing.
man, I can't do that.
You're gonna leave here kind of early. I wanted a weekend, okay? I wanted a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but I was told I could only have a Saturday with you guys. So you're gonna come early on Saturday, and you're gonna leave Saturday evening.
Food on you or
Probably
food on me?
All right? I know that I'm not even gonna ask if you guys are fasting or not, but we will be eating fasting food.
Oh, no.
But here's the cool thing.
Bro.
You wanna kill the live stream?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what we're talking
Okay.
about.
Please, man, I don't want to give a quarter without